everybody. This is Skynet928, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mue. Mue?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the 8-Bit Outlaws.
Oh, yeah. So this one, we're going to go ahead and approach it a little bit differently today. Basically, instead of talking about the normal subjects, we're going to go a little bit off track and just kind of talk more or less about our experiences, about anime, gaming. Basically, I know normally that we usually talk about certain topics and such. We have been reading the comments. We have been reading some of the suggestions that you guys have been sending in. We really do thank you all for sending those in, letting us know where we made the mistakes and not yelling at us as much. So yeah, basically, today's topic, or topics, whatever you want to let it go with,
has to deal with nostalgia.
Exactly what she said right there. Basically, for me, I'm going to be talking about more about the gaming aspect of my life, whereas Mue is going to be talking about more or less like the animes. I think she was going to go with Dragon Ball.
Yeah, the first one I'm going to be talking about is Dragon Ball for this episode, and then later on, if we do another one, I'll think of another animes, because I have a bunch of nostalgic animes.
Yeah, and I know what you mean on that one. I mean, personally for me, I was never really truly an anime fan until probably a little bit until before I met you, and then and then probably you got me into it. But I know that I definitely got my start with all of this, basically with video games. Anime, to be truly honest, my first anime con was actually OmniCon back in like 2011, I think, more or less.
Yeah, it was the same year. That was the first con for me as well. It's just that we didn't bump into each other. Yeah,
and then I remember that the second year, I was actually one of the security guards for the con. And I found it kind of funny because of the fact that I actually saw you with a friend of ours, and I was like, oh, this guy's playing around. He thinks he's a black belt, but in reality, he's not. Only for me to find out, actually, he's not just playing around. He actually is.
Yeah, you were telling me you were going to come up and get after us because my friend kind of threatened someone. But one of your security guards actually held you back, telling him, no, that black belt is real. Do not. And he wasn't threatening anyone. It's just that the guy was actually threatening us, saying he could kick my friend's butt just because he was dressed up as Ryu.
He's like, you realize I'm not just dressed up as Ryu. I actually am a black belt. The guy's like, no.
Like, I remember the exact quote he gave. He's like, I earned this through blood, sweat, and tears. Well, no, wait, scratch that. Just blood and sweat I put into earning this black belt. And the guy just backed off.
As far as I'm concerned, it's like, I saw it, I was like, the hell's going on here? And I tried to approach it, but basically one of them was holding me back, like, no, you don't want to, trust me, he'll kick your ass if you piss him off.
I know, I was trying to get the guy to back off once my friend gave him the look. I'm like, dude, just back away. And that's when my friend jumped in. As
far as I'm concerned, it's like, yeah. But personally for me, it's, before I get too off topic here, OmniCon was one of my first. It was one of my first cons and everything. I really enjoyed it and everything. Personally, I haven't really been too much of a fan of the most recent ones because it kind of feels like, at least to me, that it kind of like the novelty more or less kind of wore off.
Of what, anime or the convention scene?
The convention scene itself. I mean, it just doesn't feel genuine anymore to me, at least.
Well, it kind of depends where you go to. I mean, we have a fun time at San Japan.
Yeah, definitely San Japan with, shout out to Mr. Dave Hankin, the con owner, Praz. So, if you're listening to this, buddy, look out for me next year. I'll be there at your con and everything, pretty much just podcasting it up, maybe, just probably, I might,
We'll be the ones with the badges that actually have our usernames on there.
Yeah, don't give them any ideas. They're gonna try looking for us. Okay, we're looking for these sons of bitches. We're looking for Mue and Skynet. You find anybody with those usernames?
But I just get it depends where we go to. I mean, around the area we live, we kind of trying to avoid it, not because they're bad, but because too much money in the long run.
Yeah, and quite honestly, it's just, to me, I'm really not agreeing with some of the cons here and everything, and some of the politics involved with it. I mean, it's not all just like fairy princes and butterflies. I've actually been behind the scenes in these cons, and I've actually ran one of these cons as well.
Well, if it wasn't for the convention scene, we wouldn't have met. You kind of realize that.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's like, for me, I personally feel that the convention scene has really helped me out in the long run, I think. It's given me more of a leadership kind of role, kind of helped me out more and less understanding in how organizations are worked, how to respect like your peers and everything. Because to be honest with you, it's like for me, I am the kind of person where they'll consider me a hard ass, and I've had a lot of people do that. I really don't personally fucking care. Um, some people have considered me a real hard ass, and it's like, well, if you don't like working, then what the hell did you sign up for volunteers for? Because personally, for me, I'm really the kind of guy where it's just, yeah, I mean,
I didn't see you as a hard ass. I kind of first saw you as a panicker.
elaborate.
Remember the elevator story?
Oh, yeah. Well, that one actually wasn't even my fault.
Yes and no. Yes and no, because it's the. Remember, all I did was just come out of the elevator, gave you the frame, and told you, oh, someone told me it hit him in the head, but he just left, and I just left all calm. And before I knew it, everyone was looking for me, telling me, oh, who got hurt? Who got hurt? Who got hurt? I'm like, no one got hurt.
Yeah, I remembered I was actually trying to figure out who it is that got hurt, if anyone got hurt. And then I remember that I called some of the other staff, and actually it was them that panicked. I mean, it may seem like a cheap attempt to try to place the blame on someone else. I mean, I'll be honest with you. This is what happened, at least from my perspective. And honestly, it's like, if you guys want to investigate this more, I would say just like ask those who were there. But I'm not going to give specific details since it happened years ago and people aren't really going to remember. And considering that the people I've worked with, it's like, yeah, they might not remember. So at least what happened to me is I remember that I was actually there, and what we were told was basically that the elevator grate had fell on one of the con guests. So essentially what I did was I went and I was like, okay, is anyone hurt? And they're like, no one's hurt. It's just, and I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, not whatever as in I don't care. Basically,
well, you only talked to me. I was the only one who was telling you the information.
Yeah, then I called up the other staff, and then they started running for some reason. I thought it was something important. And then basically I got the blame for, oh, you're the one who's causing all the panic and everything. It's like, no, I wasn't the one causing all the panic. I was just running along with you guys because I thought there was an emergency. You know, excuse me for trying to be helpful and all.
Yeah, they scared me. I thought I was in trouble. I'm like, I didn't think this was a big deal because the person wasn't hurt. And it turned out the person probably was poking the grate on top, even though I asked them, why are you doing that? And they were like, no.
Yeah, actually, we actually came to find out that the person was doing it. It's just that the person was straight up lying to us, and I was kind of like, no, don't lie to me. But as far as I'm concerned, it's like, yeah, I mean, if you fuck up at a con, it's like, don't be afraid to tell the staff. I mean, unless you actually did something stupid you weren't supposed to. Basically, it's like, don't be afraid to tell us anything. Personally, for me, the reason I got into cons more or less is because when I was younger, I actually remember waking up like Saturday mornings, actually turning on my SNES, and it was pretty cool. I mean, basically, those were the good old days. You would just go on, turn on your Super Nintendo, just plug in a cartridge, and then I remember the whole bullshit where it wouldn't turn on, so you would have to pop it out and blow it.
You're talking to me? I had the original.
Oh yeah, and we actually do have it here. I'm actually planning on possibly either restoring it or possibly putting like a Raspberry Pi into it and possibly...
You found a fortune in there. Remember?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Toddler Meway put a fortune in there. And I think maybe that's what messed it up.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I was able to get it out, and I mean, right now, it's like I'm not really exactly sure how I want to tackle the problem, more or less. I think I want to probably either clean it out or possibly put like a Raspberry Pi computer, make it an emulator, basically. Probably even soup it up, probably like make it to where the controllers are USB, and then put probably NES, SNES, and then maybe some other ROMs and such in there, like whatever the Raspberry Pi can handle. I mean, that would be pretty nice. I mean, it looks like it looks like a regular Nintendo, and then all of a sudden you turn it on, it's like, okay, what do you want to play? You know, I mean, probably even some Game Boy games in there. Why not? You know.
Kind of reminds me of the bootleg system my uncle bought that was all Atari emulator. But it was funny because and it had some NES games in there too. It's just that they changed the names. So like instead of Mario, it was called Mr. Mary.
Oh, bootleg! You make me so happy.
I still don't know where he got it, but I'm like, this is the system JonTron reviewed. How did you get the system JonTron reviewed?
He found a way. He found a way. Basically, like, my SNES, I still have my original SNES. I don't know exactly what I want to do with it. Personally for me, I'm probably gonna maybe make it into an emulator as well. But it actually is very well preserved. I would probably just need to clean off some of the terminals, maybe resolder a few parts, because it's probably corroded and such. But I remember like being able to turn it on, and then I remember the whole BS where you'd have to blow into the cartridge because it just wouldn't work, and you're like, come on, breathe, damn you, breathe.
I used to have the SNES as well, but I sold it at the flea market when I was a kid because I needed the money.
But at least you had the original NES.
Yeah, but I couldn't sell that one because it didn't work.
Yeah, I'm going to try to fix that one for you, but as far as I'm concerned, it's like, to be honest with you, it's actually quite amazing to see how things have progressed ever since then. I mean, now we have like the Xbox One, the PS4. It's got like freaking 12 gigabytes of memory. I don't know how much it has. I need to look into it, but I know that like for sure, like the specs for the PS3, I'm very aware of those. I know that it had like a 8-core synthetic processor. Basically, it had like SPEs, which is like synthetic processing elements or something like that, and it had like dual graphics cards in there, and it had like all this like neat stuff in there. Basically, it was just a powerhouse of a system.
But it doesn't seem like it's about gaming anymore too much. It's more like, oh, let's try to add as many features as we can to this.
To be quite honest with you, it's like, in all honesty, I honestly believe, and I might get a lot of hate for this, I honestly believe that the PS4 actually, well, even the PS3, to be honest with you, I believe that Sony and Microsoft have actually lost the way, because I remember the good old PS1 and then the PS2, and then after the PS2, it just kind of started going downhill for me. Not to say that the PS3 was a bad system, but to be honest with you, I'm a kid who grew up with the SNES, and it was just a simple gaming system. Basically, you would plug in a cartridge, you would start playing, and I remember the Nintendo hard games. I mean, they couldn't make these games very, very long, so what they would do is they would make these levels a pain in the fucking ass. So that, I mean, what games do you remember playing on your system?
Which, on the original NES?
Yeah, like I remember for me, it's like I had F-Zero, I had Mega Man, I think I had like
F-Zero was on the NES?
It was either on the NES or the SNES. I can't remember, but I think I think it was for SNES, but I could be mistaken. But I think I remember playing that because I know that I went to my cousins every once in a while to play the NES.
I know Mega Man was on the NES. I had a Mega Man game. I had Mega Man 3. I had Goonies. I remember playing Goonies a lot. And I also had the original Mario game. Just Mario. It didn't have Duck Hunt on it like other systems did. Even though I had the Duck Hunt gun, I don't know why my brother bought that. And then we didn't even have the game. I had that one, I had Batman, and I had volleyball. And then after it broke down, my dad had actually not bought, but found the cross motor game.
Oh, that one, the Super Motocross, something like that.
Well, yeah,
or
it was a motocross game. That's
or was
really
it Excite Bike?
Excite Bike.
There we go, Excite Bike.
Excite Bike. He found it, and I couldn't play it.
I do remember Killer Instinct though. That was a really good game.
Well, Killer Instinct was for SNES. I played that one too.
Yeah, and I remember playing as Fulgore. He was actually my favorite character. Another one that I actually do remember. Do you remember the Super Scope and the light gun?
I only had the gun for the NES, but I did not have any of the other equipment. I didn't buy NES.
I'll be quite honest with you. The NES gun was a piece of fucking shit.
Oh no, I remember what else I had that I never used, and I don't even know why we had it. We had the mat.
Oh dear God, that one! I remember seeing the Angry Video Game Nerd review that one. He was like all pissed off. This thing doesn't even fucking work.
Yeah, we had the mat, and I don't even know why we had the mat. We just had the mat. We had all these accessories, and we didn't have any games I could play them. I'm thinking my mom might have found this at the flea market or something and bought it for my brother.
Could you imagine if she had bought the Rollin' Rocker?
Don't even get me started.
Oh my god, that thing didn't even fucking work out of the box.
But for me, I guess the NES was more my brother's system, but my system was the SNES. My mom and dad's best friends bought it for me.
It's like, what the fuck? How come he gets the better shit?
What?
I was an only child, so I pretty much got whatever we could afford at the time, and I don't even know if mine was brand new or used. I'm willing to put money on it's used, but...
Well, same with my SNES, it was used.
But I remember there's this one game that I honestly cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. Maybe you might know, or maybe somebody here might know. Basically, I remember that this game actually used the Super Scope. And to be quite honest with you, it was actually, it looked like kind of like a mech game or whatever. I know that this one, you could not play it with the SNES controller. You actually had to have the Super Scope. And I remember it was kind of like some big-ass mech game where basically you would go up and then they would start shooting at you and you're supposed to use the Super Scope to counteract it and start shooting back at them. It was a really, really fun game. And the only reason I stopped playing was because my Super Scope had stopped working. And I was going to try to either get a new one or see if a friend could lend me theirs or something, but I ended up just like losing the game. And then I thought, okay, I'll just get the game again later. But as time flew, it's just, I forgot the name of the game and it just kind of like, yeah.
There's one nostalgic SNES game that I have played, but it's a shocker that you never played until recently, which was Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. Yeah, I remember that I wanted those games, but unfortunately my mom couldn't find them.
And it's weird because Super Mario World was like always bundled with the SNES, so hearing someone that didn't have the game was odd to me.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I actually no, to be honest with you, I think I've actually tried the Super Mario Duck Hunt combo, but I never...
Well, that was the NES one, but
yeah.
The SNES was the one where Yoshi was introduced.
Yeah, and I remember playing that one with my cousin, basically, but the thing was that I never really wanted to play the Mario. I actually wanted to play the Duck Hunt because I always liked shooting the ducks and seeing the dog laugh. Like you would get one, and he'd be like, yeah, or you would miss and be like...
I also had Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong. I actually remember having that one for the NES. I mean, not the NES, the Super NES. And I remember just like loving the song. It's like do 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 do. Remember that? Do 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 do.
This was before it got replaced by the Donkey Kong rap.
Oh dear God, I've listened to that one. It's like, why?
Donkey Kong.
DK Donkey Kong.
I also had a Ninja Turtles fighting game, which was actually really, really fun for me. I really liked it. I think it was called Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
You know, actually, one that I do remember. Now that you think of it, I actually do remember Clay Fighters.
I don't know Clay Fighters.
Clay Fighters was one where it had like these stupid things made out of clay, and you had like the clown, and then you had Helga, then you had like an Elvis impersonator, I think, and it was pretty fun. I used to like playing it. I mean, nowadays, right now when you play it, it kind of looks like whatever, right? But back in the day when you were a kid, that was the shit. I remember going to the video store actually, and I remember like picking out like NES cartridges, not NES or like Super NES, and then occasionally I would pick out NES when I would go play with my cousin. But I remember the struggle. Basically, you would go and you would hope that the one that you picked was not a piece of shit, because then it'd be like, because like our policy was like, okay, I'll take you to the video store once every other week, and only if you get good grades. And then can you imagine just going to the video store, picking out a game, thinking, all right, this is going to be awesome, right? You put it in only to find out it's a piece of fucking shit.
That's a lot of people when they got Mario was missing. I didn't get this game to learn. I got this so I could play as Luigi.
All I know is that Mue's favorite game is Lester the Unlikely.
You shut your mouth. I hated that game. I don't even know why I owned it. I don't even know how my cousin was able to pass so many levels. That Lester, you can't do anything with Lester. He gets hurt too easily. He runs away from stuff.
He runs away from his own shadow. That's how wimpy he is.
It's true. And then he's like, Oh.
It's like, shut up, Lester. Shut up. I'm trying to actually remember some of the other games. Like I said, I mean, I had Killer Instinct. I've had F-Zero.
I used to play a Pink Panther game. That one was interesting. I had Super Castlevania, or I would play that one a lot. Super Castlevania was actually really. I found it fun. Some people don't like the Castlevania series. I guess it just depends on who you are. Oh, I also had Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. I think I did play that one. It's just that I was never good at it. Um, I would try, but I would always end up like running myself off the road. So I ended up like eventually getting frustrated with it. I think there was also like a sports truck game I used to also play as well. And that's like a big mistake in another system. Um, but as far as I'm concerned, I do remember the Donkey Kongs. I think I might have had an opportunity to play Super Castlevania or one of the Castlevania games, but the problem was that when I went and rented it from the video game store, I think that was one of like the few games where no matter what I tried, and that was the other thing. That's the other thing I never liked. Is like you would go and you would, and aside from hoping that the game you got wasn't a piece of shit, you would also hope that it would actually load up. Because I mean, could you imagine wasting your free trip only to be like, oh, I can't play it?
The one thing I always regret not playing as a kid was probably the RPG games. I was never given any RPG games, and I didn't have the luxury of going to the video store to you to rent games. I was only allowed to rent videos.
Wait, you went to the video store and you never rented out games?
I was not allowed to. My mom didn't let me. She would only let me rent out videos, and usually it was Barney. Hey, I don't care what people said. I liked Barney as a kid. I'm allowed to like stuff as a kid. When I grow up, that's a whole different story.
Actually, I do remember actually not buying, but like renting a Batman game, which I ended up. Actually, no, I think I ended up buying it later. I remember actually playing a Batman game.
I heard the Batman games were pretty good for the SNES.
And it's actually kind of weird. It's like what I've actually found is I've actually downloaded some of the ROMs and everything. One I actually want to really play was Super Punch Out, but I never got to play that one actually because I think as a kid I saw it, but it just never looked very appealing to me.
Super Mario RPG, I heard, is also a really good one you should play.
Super Mario RPG? Yeah, maybe. Have you ever tried any of those Bible games though?
Nah, I'm really not interested. Like, trust me, I've done my Bible duty. I hate Bible stuff.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some of those Bible games not even like licensed by Nintendo. Super Noah's Ark, I actually did see that one. That was that stupid looking one, unless it's another one. But I'm fairly sure it was Super Noah's Ark, where basically it had like that stupid lockout override on the top. You would basically put it in there, and then you would put like a legit NES game on there, so it would override the lock with a legitimate chip that it had on the legitimate game and everything. But to be honest with you, it's like, yeah, I think, in all honesty, video games actually did get me started on anime. Because I know that when I was younger, I actually did have a chance to see Dragon Ball. It's just that Dragon Ball never really truly seemed appealing to me, at least at the time. I mean, I want to get into it, but at the same time, I'm too caught up with other animes like Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann, other stuff.
Well, you're saying something recent. For me, I've seen Dragon Ball was the first series I saw, and I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z. I'm talking about the original back when I was 3 years old. Because unlike how the U.S. They got their anime through Toonami and stuff, I actually watched most of my anime in Spanish because we live like really close to the border of Mexico. I'm not going to say exactly where we live. It's very close, so we get channels from Mexico. And there was this channel called Canal 5. And what they would do is they would show cartoons from the morning until like 10 at night. And they would get a lot of anime straight from Japan and just dub it straight from Japan. So the openings were just Spanish dubs of the Japanese opening, and a lot of it was really uncensored compared to what we see here in America. So,
Define uncensored.
You got to see Goku's penis. Wow.
Wow, That's pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and show this to kids. Why don't we? What was the rating on these things?
Kids?
Yes, because showing a penis is kid friendly. That's always been the case, haven't it?
It's a little kid dick. It looks like a half a centimeter around there.
Like a little fucking tic tac.
Yes, it was a little fucking tic tac. That's why they didn't really care. It's like boys have them. It's the same as like trying to shun nipples from your kids. It's like they were fed with those for their first like year and a half. So why are you shunning them now?
I can only imagine some kids looking. It's like, how come I don't have one? Oh dear God, you broke it off.
But yeah, if anyone doesn't remember, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people do, Dragon Ball is a series made by Akira Toriyama that's been around, well, in manga form from 1985 all the way to 1993. Actually, not 1993, 1995.
I may have never actually watched the shows, but I remember one thing from the show very, very clearly. You could always tell which of the fucking mountains was going to get destroyed. It's like, you see those brightly colored rocks? Those are going to get destroyed in 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to stop you right there because you're talking about Dragon Ball Z. I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Z. I'm talking about the original shit.
What you talking about, Willis?
The original show was a comedy show. It wasn't all about the fighting. Yes, they had tournaments, but they didn't have any of the Super Saiyan crap. Goku wasn't an alien back then. He was just a kid who was born with a tail that was very strong. He had this power to turn into a giant gorilla, but they never associated with him being an alien.
I remember the first time I saw him going Super Saiyan, he's like,
Again,
I was like, that guy is really constipated.
Like, the Super Saiyan Goku thing was years later. Actually, Dragon Ball wasn't even supposed to last past the first arc, which is them actually finding the Dragon Balls and going, I think, against Emperor Pilaf, if I remember correctly. But then they decided to keep going, so that's when they started doing like the Red Ribbon Army arc, the King Piccolo arc, the Goku turning into an teenager adult.
The Ginyu Force?
No, that was like later on. And then finally back into again as the Piccolo Jr. arc, to finally going into him marrying Chi-Chi, and then that's when Dragon Ball Z started. So there was a whole bunch of arcs that people missed out on because the US wanted to start off with Dragon Ball Z.
I remember when I first heard of Chi-Chi, I was like, her name's Chi-Chi.
Actually, in the Spanish dub, her name is Milk.
So it's Leche?
Yeah, no, they just call her Milk in the English, Milk.
The fuck?
Because I think, again, they were thinking the same viewer, the name Chi-Chi. So they said, you know what, let's just call her Milk. And so her name was Milk. To keep on, because all their names are, all of Goku's family is named after her food dishes.
Prove it.
Okay, well, the name Goku itself is not, but his original name Kakarot is based off carrot. Gohan is based off of rice. I think I forgot what Goten was. I don't know if it's similar, but I know all the Saiyans had the veggie names like Raditz, radish. Broly was broccoli.
What the fuck? Were they hungry when they made this fucking show?
I forgot.
Why the fuck is it that almost everyone's named after food? Like Ichigo, Kakarot, or
there was no Ichigo in this one. You're talking about Bleach.
No, well, yeah, I'm talking about like different animes, but it's like because isn't Ichigo like strawberry or something like that?
Yeah, but
like, what the fuck, Japan?
It's adorable, and no, but Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball had a really special place in my heart because I grew up with Goku, so I grew up with him as a child. I saw Chi-Chi as a child. When I met Krillin, when Yamcha actually was a formidable opponent compared to where he gets like booted out in Dragon Ball Z.
It's like, let's dumb it down for the kids.
Yeah, most of those characters that appear around Dragon Ball Z, Master Roshi was actually pretty badass.
Now he's just a pervert.
Like I showed you that clip when he was Jackie Chun. Remember?
Oh yeah, the one in the tournament. I think like he was trying to go easy on Goku, but ultimately he wasn't supposed to. He didn't want to let him win or something like that.
Yeah, he wanted to teach Goku a lesson that you're not gonna win every fight, and that you have to keep on training.
But Goku he kept like pissing him off. He's like, "I'm okay, you son of a bitch."
But in the end, even after Goku turned to a gorilla form by accident, Roshi was still able to beat him.
I actually thought the entire time when I granted I came into like the middle of it and I didn't really watch it. I thought Master Roshi was like a weak ass son of a bitch. I didn't realize why he was called Master Roshi.
He looks old, but he's actually immortal.
That's absolutely fucking astounding.
And it was funny because he was gonna turn Goku immortal by having him, I think, drink a soup from a phoenix feather or something like that. But the turtle told him, Master, the immortal phoenix is dead. How is he dead? He died from food poisoning.
That makes no fucking sense.
I know, and so he ended up getting the magic cloud.
That's absolutely wonderful. As far as I'm concerned, though, the one thing I could never understand with the spirit bomb. Basically, you would have him there, and he's like, "I need everyone's energy," and didn't it take like 5 or 6 episodes?
This is the Dragon Ball Z.
But I mean, even then, it doesn't matter. It's like, who the hell's gonna stay around for that shit? It's kind of like if I have an enemy, it's like, dude, I'm reloading. Hold on. Hold on. Damn this.
And it wasn't 5
cool.
or 6 episodes. It was just 1 episode.
Are you sure? At least
yeah.
the version I saw had like 5 or 6, I think. Unless maybe it was at reruns or something.
Well, yeah, that's they did have long fights. They had long fights, but the Spirit Bomb usually only took like a whole episode to charge because they weren't that stupid.
The thing I never liked about most animes is the fact that I know Bleach is guilty of this, and personally I haven't watched it. I think I only watched up to like season 5 or something like that. I just stopped because it kind of like got boring to me. But it's like
filler.
Yeah, too much filler. It's like, come on, get on with it. Yes, get on with it. And I hated it because, I mean, it was a good story, and I personally liked the story. It's just too much filler, and then the fact that the fighting scenes in the actual show were not as epic as the ones opening the show. And it's like, the fuck, guys, really?
Well, because here's the problem when they make anime around the same time the manga hasn't finished. They're gonna run through. They're gonna do a lot. They're gonna have to go through materials a lot quicker. Sailor Moon was also having this problem with the first series.
Well, what do you mean?
Because when they did the Sailor Moon series, did you notice it was a monster of the day type of story?
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
It wasn't like that in the original manga. They had to do the monster of the day to keep the story going. And they even had a whole extra filler arc with 2 villains that weren't even part of the original manga.
So basically, have the manga be ahead of the show.
Yeah, but because of that, like both anime and manga ended on different notes. Like there was a whole transformation that was missing in the original series. We never got to see all the rest of the Sailor Scouts in their princess form. Dragon Ball was also really bad with filler. But it's a different kind of filler. This is what we like to call fighting filler, where they decide to make the battle last longer than it had to be. And as you see, that's why a lot of the fights that may seem to last are supposed to last only 10 minutes ended up lasting 2 episodes or 5 episodes. Even Team 4-Star has made jokes about it that Frieza didn't know how to tell time because he said that the world was gonna blow up in 10 minutes and it was already past 2 episodes when he said that. But there was also some good filler in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. There was they had during the Cell games, I think, or before the Cell games, before the androids, they had the episode where the Goku learned how to drive the car. That was funny. And then in the middle of them practicing during the Cell games, they had some filler with Gohan, like his birthday, and then him interacting with characters who were afraid of the whole Cell thing. So that was good filler. And then there's just fighting filler where Which is why Dragon Ball Z Kai was made, or Dragon Ball Kai, whatever people call it now. They just wanted to shorten the series. There wasn't really much need for so much fighting. But for me, my heart always lies with the original Dragon Ball, because that was my childhood. I always tell my mommy, I want to see Goku. Get over to Goku. Get over to Goku. And even my mom knew who Goku was when I was a child. And so I would watch the original Dragon Ball. I saw it from the beginning with Bulma fighting Goku in the woods, almost killing him, and having to find the Dragon Balls first, and him training with Master Roshi and meeting Krillin. I think the arc that stood out more for me was the King Piccolo arc, because King Piccolo was really scary, and that's when a lot of the characters they started introducing death a lot more. Goku had used the Dragon Balls to revive characters, and I think in the past. Like, I know he revived one of his little Indian friends. I forgot the name of this boy, but he was not Indian, it's the Native American. He was a little Native American, and his father died. So he helped him use Dragon Balls to revive him. So that's the only time I can recall that the Dragon Balls were used to revive someone, until the King Piccolo arc. When King Piccolo killed Roshi, Krillin, Chaozu, and Goku had to revive him with the Dragon Balls after killing King Piccolo. And then finally he decided to go train with Stick Kami and Mr. Popo. And when we finally see him again, he had a major growth spurt. And I still liked it because it was funny. It had comedy and it seemed more realistic. You saw Goku going through training. You didn't. The only energy blast he knew at the time was just the Kamehameha. It wasn't this whole, oh, you're strong because you're an alien and you can get stronger by just feeling mad of bullshit that is Dragon Ball Z, making, like, human warriors obsolete. No, Goku was still very weak compared to some of the other human fighters. So he had to train. He had to train hard to beat Tien. Tien Shinhan. He was defeated by Master Roshi at the beginning. He had to work hard to get to the place he was at. He didn't just do training, like super training that we wouldn't do. This was actually realistic training, which I'm thinking some of the martial arts masters in our world would be doing, like running errands, using extra weighted clothing. It had more of a realistic tone. It had a more comedic tone. More because this was when Akira Toriyama had just finished doing Dr. Slump, which is a very comedy-based show. And it wasn't until Dragon Ball Z when we saw it go from comedy to a more serious-toned series where the laws of physics got bullshitted. And that's basically my take on Dragon Ball. Did I enjoy it? Yep. And for me, the first one will always be my most nostalgic anime. Dragon Ball Z, while it's fun, I have to give my props to the original Dragon Ball.
As far as I'm concerned, I really don't know. I've never really truly seen it, so I can't really rate it. But at least from what I've seen, it seems like an interesting story. It's just like, it seems like I'm just probably too lazy to keep up with it. I mean,
it's a long series. Like, the original Dragon Ball is long, but Dragon Ball Z, now that they have Dragon Ball Kai out, they actually cut down the fighting a lot. So it's a lot shorter of a series.
Yeah, but actually one of the things I do want to see is fighting, and like I said, I mean, for me, I don't really like it when a show kind of like BS's the fighting scenes, and in the intro you have like all this cool shit happening. I mean, like with Bleach, I mean, you see them just having like these epic fights. It's like, oh my god, it's just so makes you like it makes you excited for the show.
Yeah, because
and then like on the end, on like when you're actually in the show, it's like, I will defeat you. No, you will not defeat me. I must defeat you. And they're just talking and talking and talking. You're thinking, come on, stop talking, just kiss. I mean, fight.
No, but with Bleach, that again, remember the Sailor Moon thing I told you about? They were their whole third season was filler. Like they were notorious for filler. I mean, I think they were in the middle of the whole Wakamundo arc where Orihime was kidnapped. Then they rescued her for a filler arc, and only for her to get kidnapped again to continue the actual arc they were on.
It's like, damn it, is your role model fucking Princess Peach?
Yeah, so it again, filler. Filler bad, but depends on how it's done. Dragon Ball had good filler episodes, bad filler fights. And like there's other shows where they do the filler where they introduce characters that you only see for that episode and then they don't come back ever again.
It's like, what's the point? Why do you do this to us?
And that's how anime is. Heck, Full Metal Alchemist, their whole second season was filler too. At least the first series.
I don't know. I really want to finish up the second season because I know that we've only gone so far.
You mean the second series?
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Because I remember we had it on Netflix and we were watching it and then it cut us off so abruptly. We're like, you bastards!
It was only missing 5 episodes.
It's like, you bastards, we were so close and now we'll never know. What would have been really, really bad is if they decided to add it after we canceled our subscription. We canceled our subscription because they started taking off a whole bunch of shows which I thought was bullshit.
They took off My Little Pony.
They took off Mythbusters, and I'm like, you sons of bitches.
But the ponies, Skynet, the ponies.
No, I want my Mythbusters. I want my Adam and Jamie, and I want to see shit go kaplooey.
Hey, you have Pinkie Pie stuff. Don't say you don't like the ponies.
As far as I'm concerned, I always love the Mythbusters phrase, failure is always an option. But as far as I'm concerned, it's like, this is something we would just have to leave for another episode. But yeah, basically, this is just like one of the, I guess you can say this is one of the, like, let's sit down and chat episodes. It does run a little bit longer than usual, basically, because, we can't really confine it to 30 minutes. But in all honesty, we can do more episodes like this, and if you're interested in more episodes like this, or more episodes like the discussions, like in episodes 1 and 2, let us know in the comments, so that way we can kind of decide more or less what we're going to do. I mean, it's basically a hit and miss. Like, we'll decide to do one, we'll decide to do another. I mean, it's just like in this episode, we decided to go ahead and just do like a more like sit down and chat kind of session. I know future plans for us, we probably are planning on attending either San Japan 8-Bit, which is going to be in San Antonio, or maybe even PAX South. We're not exactly sure yet. As far as we're concerned, it looks like we're probably going to San Japan. What do you think?
Well, it has 8-Bit in the name.
So it's kind of, even though we're not exactly popular, at least at this point, it's like, well, I don't be surprised if we do a podcast like live on the scene and
live in the hotel room. It's like we're gonna be doing this while watching cars crash into each other. So don't be surprised if we start laughing during the podcast, saying, "Oh, there's one, there's another."
It's like yes.
The ambulance crashed into the police officer.
There's a child crying. Yes, child, continue crying. Your tears, they make me stronger.
Actually, I had like a quick question of the day, if you don't mind me adding it to here.
Okay.
I'm planning on doing anime reviews for this channel. They're not going to be video reviews. They're going to be audio because I don't want to go into copyright. But I will be giving like my analysis of these shows. So my question is, what show do you want me to do first? It's either between Uta no Prince-sama or Cute High Earth Defense Club Love. So let me just give a brief description of both of them. Uta no Prince-sama is the story of a girl named Haruka who wants to be a composer. She goes to a school for idols to learn to be a composer. And basically, there's like 7 guys who are in love with her, who want to get together with her, but love is forbidden in the show. So it's Haruka having to deal with them asking her to be their partner because they want to be idols and she wants to be a composer. And then the other one, the Cute High Earth Defense Club Love, is basically a show about magical boys.
That's absolutely wonderful.
Who are really obsessed with the term love making. And they have
love.
And they have a little magical wombat that guides them through. And basically that's all the description I can give you for that one.
And that makes their nipples hard.
So again, you guys have the choice between Uta no Prinsama, which has to deal with idols, and Cute High Earth Defense Club Love, which has to do with magical boys.
Either way, they'll both be hilarious. Basically, later on after this podcast episode airs, we'll go ahead and set up a channel so that we, if you guys want to subscribe to the 8-Bit Outlaws, you can. If you want to subscribe specifically to Mue's reviews, basically you can also do that. I'll also be setting up a separate channel as well. Basically, we're going to have 3 channels in total. Basically, it's going to be the 8-Bit Outlaws, where it's basically Mue and Skynet both together. We're going to have Mue's channel, and then we're going to have Skynet's channel. Basically, on my channel, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be doing like Let's Plays of old video games. I swear to God, if you guys recommend Bible games, I will be so fucking pissed with you all. But it's actually a good chance for me to fucking rage. Basically, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing Let's Plays. I'll be broadcasting, not live, but I will be broadcasting like my Let's Plays, giving commentary, kind of like looking at the video games through the eyes of Skynet, in a sense.
Or you guys can choose for Mue to pick the games he can play.
You sons of bitches, I swear to God.
Because she has access to all the games he can play.
You sons of bitches, I swear to God, if you vote on that, I will fucking hate each and every last one of you.
So choose whether the audience votes or Mue gets to look through and actually sees all the horrible games.
I think at least on the first one, I'm going to try Ghosts and Goblins. That is just a horrible fucking game. Or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
No. If we're gonna do this for the first one, let me pick it.
No, I'm doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Fuck that.
No,
fuck that. I am doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Because you mentioned it in this podcast, I'm going to make you suffer. You're doing Lester the Unlikely.
Oh, fuck you.
You're doing Lester the Unlikely.
Fuck you.
You mentioned it. You had to mention it.
Aww.
Now this is going to be revenge, and you have to do it.
God fucking damn it.
Because if you don't, then there's not going to be any dinner made by me for you.
God fucking damn it. Alright, that's fair enough. But then I'm going to do Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, okay?
Okay, I can live with that, but the first one has to be Lester the Unlikely just because you mentioned it.
Bastards!
Don't blame them, you did this to yourself.
No, I didn't. Well, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Once again, if you're interested in Mue's channel, we will be making that probably later on this week.
It's going to be under 8-Bit anime reviews.
And then for mine, it's just going to be, I guess, Skynet Play, something like that. Basically, we'll let you know. You can check back with this video. I'll see if I can possibly either put, like, links into the description later on. Or if not, I'll probably just make a brand new video altogether. Like, it's a quick little promo just to kind of let you guys know. So, subscribe to our channel. We'll also be updating our Facebook page constantly, which will be linked in the description below. And also, we will be possibly also having a site coming up pretty soon. If we do that, we'll also link that. So basically, it'll be a site where we'll be basically doing live feeds of our Tumblrs. If you're interested, we'll go ahead and be doing that, and like basically just stay tuned and see what comes up. Other than that, we're the 8-Bit Outlaws, where talking is not a crime.
Hope to see you guys soon, and look forward to Skynet being tortured.
You bastards.